Hello, hi, and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and this is Wicked Reading. So today we are going to be talking about 20 books, 20 horror books specifically, that will be coming out in the last quarter 4 of 2024. So this will include horror book releases from October, November, and December. Now, I will say this definitely has the least amount of books that I'm truly anticipating. I did the same thing that I did with my quarter 3 releases, where I will go through each month individually, but I have 2 groups of books, with the first group being books that I am truly anticipating, and a second group of books in the same month that I'm intrigued by, I'm interested in, but I'm not totally sold on, and I'm just really going to be watching for reviews and seeing what people say about the books, and then that might sell me further whether or not I should pick up the book. We definitely have the most amount of releases in October with the least amount in December, but between me filming this and releasing it, there can definitely be more books that end up getting announced and getting released. I think I said 20 books actually, but I meant 21. There's gonna be 21 books that we're talking about today. So anyways, let's just go ahead and jump right in. October 1st, we have And He Shall Appear by Kate Vanderbilt. This is described as a story of obsessive friendships, chilling powers, and untimely death for readers of dark academia classics. An unnamed narrator arrives at Cambridge University determined to reinvent himself, but is quickly marked as an outsider. He manages to fall in love with a wealthy classmate who is a charismatic party host and talented magician. But the narrator begins to suspect that his new friend may be concealing terrifying gifts under the guise of magic tricks. So this sounds so much like Saltburn. This setup sounds so much like Saltburn. It just sounds like Saltburn with magic. So I'm very intrigued on that alone, because I almost just want to read it to compare it to Saltburn. So that one I'm truly anticipating. I forgot to say, we're going through the ones I'm actually anticipating. So another one on October 1st that I am actually anticipating, and I will be getting it in a book box that I pay for, so I'm super excited. It's called Coup de Glace by Sophia Ajam. This is actually the editor of Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. I think this might be their own debut novel, but I know that they have worked on a lot of other artistic projects before. So this is actually described as a mind-bending, visceral, experimental horror, which sounds insane, and I love it. I'm so here for it. It says Vicken has a plan: throw himself into the St. Lawrence River in Montreal and end it all for good, believing it to be the only way out for him after a lifetime of depression and pain. But stepping off the subway, he finds himself in an endless looping station. The more he explores his strange new prison, the more he becomes convinced that he hasn't been trapped there accidentally, and amongst the shadows and concrete, he comes to realize that he almost certainly is not alone. So I love the word claustrophobic in there. It sounds very mind-bending. It sounds very psychological in a lot of ways. Again, kind of leading into that claustrophobic atmosphere. And I am so excited to check this one out. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Next one is actually one I talked about in one of my horror bingo videos, and I didn't realize it hadn't yet released, but this also releases October 1st, and I'm highly anticipating it. And it's called Model Home by Rivers Solomon. It says it turns the haunted house story on its head, unearthing the dark legacies of segregation and racism in a suburban American South. Unbridled, raw, and daring, Model Home is the story of secret histories uncovered and of a queer family battling for their right to live, grieve, and heal amid the terrors of contemporary American life. Just the whole idea that it is a new spin, a new twist on a haunted house story has me intrigued on its own. So I'm really interested to check this book out and to check out this author. I've not read from them before, and I'm always on the market for new authors, specifically new BIPOC authors. So I'm really excited to check this out. I said it in my other video, but I love this cover so much. I don't have many green covers, so I think it would look really good on the shelf. So I'm excited for it. Okay, this next one, listen. Absolutely. Am I mostly excited for it because of the cover? Yes. But also it does sound really interesting, but I really should not be putting this on my list, and you'll see why in a second, but it's on my list. And on October 5th, we have Self-Made Monsters by Rebecca Cuthbert. So the reason this shouldn't be on my list is because it is a collection of short stories, and I notoriously am so bad at picking up short story collections. But the way it sells itself, it sounds really good, and I'm sold on it. I really am. It describes itself as a hybrid collection of feminist horror, which check. Also cover. Check, check, check. Self-Made Monsters gives readers suburban cryptids, sleek modern gothics, body parts that just won't stay attached, and some good old-fashioned dockside vampirism. Yeah, yes, 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 yes. And it was blurbed by somebody who made me even more excited. I don't know this author, but she said it features women and our world as we are and as we want to be, as victims, victors, and villains, as wanting, wanton, and wallowing, but without judgment or disdain. And that was by Angela Sylvain, and she is the author of Frostbite and The Dead Spot. Neither of which I know, but that is just such a beautiful way to sell me on this book, and I am sold, and I love the cover, and I'm really excited for it. So there's that one. Next, on October 15th, we have The Fatal Mind by N.J. Gallegos. This sounds really good too, because this is like a medical horror, which I need more of in my life. If you know of any medical horrors, please, please, please recommend them to me. It's not something I've really read outside of, I guess, like Frankenstein and like Frankenstein stories, but I love that stuff. I love the science experimenting, the medical experimenting. I need all of that type of horror in my life, and this sounds right up my alley. It says Dr. Eldia Absinthe's experimental chip implant procedure inhibits the migraine pain of her patients, releasing them from debilitating chronic pain. When she performs her new procedure on Sean Gilbert, a former NBA superstar whose career was cut short by headaches, Gilbert becomes her biggest advocate, launching the brilliant and beautiful neurologist to national stardom. But when Gilbert's wife Rachel sees Gilbert's personality become darker by the day, it becomes a race against time to uncover the deadly secret behind Dr. Absinthe's miracle cure in the Black Mirror meets Frankenstein medical horror thriller. That sounds just so good to me. I'm so excited for this one. I will say the cover, not my favorite. The cover could have been way better. I mean, the brain is a good idea to have on there. I just feel like they could have done so much more with this cover, but it is what it is. I will definitely still check it out, but cover's lacking. Next one that I did already pre-order, because this is super, super highly anticipated for me, an author I love. It's coming out October 15th, and that is Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. This is a novella, and it says a young musician finds himself locked inside a gas station bathroom in the middle of the night by an unseen assailant. And that is all I want to know going into it, because it is a short book, so I cannot wait to check this one out. Next up on October 24th, this one's a little bit more, I'm more so anticipating it because of the author. While the synopsis sounds intriguing, if I didn't already know this author, I don't think I would be anticipating it as much, but it is Barrowbeck by Andrew Michael Hurley. So he wrote Starve Acre, and I really, really enjoyed that. He writes just like folky atmosphere really well, so I'm expecting this to be a bit more of a slow burn atmospheric read as well. It says, for centuries, the inhabitants of Barrowbeck have lived uneasily with forces beyond their reckoning. They raise their families, work the land, and do their best to welcome those who come seeking respite. As one generation gives way to the next, and ancient land is carved up in the name of progress, darkness gathers. The people of Barrowbeck have forgotten that they are but guests in the valley. Now there is a price to pay. 2,000 years of history is coming to an end. So yeah, I'm not like super sold by the synopsis on its own, but I really, really enjoyed Starve Acre, so I definitely want to check this one out still, but I will probably try to get it like from the library. It's not one that I'm going to go out of my way to buy, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The next one is also a little bit more of an anticipated read because of the author, and a little bit less so because of the synopsis. But another one on October 29th is The Queen by Nick Cutter. I really love Nick Cutter's writing. I don't always love all of his stories, I will say, but I do love his writing. So I definitely want to read this one and give it a shot. So it is a heart-pounding novel of terror about a young woman searching for her missing friend and uncovering a shocking truth. It talks about how the main character opens her door and there's an iPhone on her porch where she has a message from her missing best friend there, and she I think it just kind of turns into her trying to find her friend through this iPhone that has mysteriously showed up on her porch. So yeah, I don't love that synopsis if I'm being honest, but I'm just hoping that with Nick Cutter's writing, it becomes a very interesting, very dark and detailed story. One I recently, as in 2 days ago, found out about is Sugar by Mia Ballard. Again, the cover, oh my god, like stunning, 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 stunning. I love this cover so much. It says, when 35-year-old Cintara Stratton discovers her husband Dean's treacherous affair with her best friend Lila, she plunges into familiar territory, deceit, and death. Having disposed of men before without a hitch, she finds a new thrill in this betrayal. But with Lila on a crusade to expose her guilt, Cintara must outpace everyone to keep her secrets safe. Her fate intertwines with a love witch whose tempting spells seem a perfect solution to Cintara's woes. So I'm excited. This sounds really interesting. I saw some really, really good reviews on it on Instagram, and that sold me too. So I can't wait to check this out. This will be available on Kindle Unlimited, so I will absolutely be reading it through that. So now moving into the books that I'm intrigued by, but not totally sold on for October. On October 1st, we have The Bog Wife by Kay Chronister. This is described as a atmospheric Appalachian Gothic, which is what has me really intrigued. But I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very intrigued and anticipating another Appalachian story last quarter, and I read it. That was Smother Moss by Elisa Alering. And I enjoyed it, but it was a little bit too ambiguous, I guess, for me. And I think that this will also be quite a bit ambiguous. So I'm definitely quite hesitant with this one. But I love the idea of an Appalachian setting, so I'm still intrigued by it. But it says, the Hattersley siblings of West Virginia must unearth long-buried secrets to carve out a future when the supernatural bargain entwining their fate with their ancestral land is suddenly ruptured. Each season is renewed with the ritual sacrifice of their patriarch, and in return, the bog produces a bog wife brought to life from the vegetation. But when the bog fails or refuses to honor the bargain, the family must face an unknown future. So yeah, I'm intrigued, but I don't really know at the same time, so we'll see. Another one on October 1st is called The Demon by Victory Witherkai. If I'm being honest, I'm not super interested in this one, but I wanted to include it because this would definitely count for the Reaper hard mode if you're doing the horror bingo, and the Reaper read hard mode is quite difficult to find, but this would work for sure. So I wanted to include it in case you guys were still on the hunt for a book for that. So this says, after a demon possesses a girl, it begins to have memories of the girl's life and vague impressions of a deal made with Filipino warrior Lapu Lapu. She reconnects with her former master Death and discovers that her bargain went against his will. Death's punishment is beyond her comprehension, enduring the cruelties of mortality and leaving her in prison in the former girl's university life. Life experiences, toxic friendships, emotional and physical attachments, and finally heartbreak prove sadistic even for a demon. So it seems like it's a little bit more lighthearted in a way, but also seems like it would have some like harder hitting themes, but definitely has a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek vibe to it. October 8th, we have The Black Hunger by Nicholas Pollan. It says, John Sackville will soon be dead. Shadows writhe in the corners of his cell as he mourns the death of his secret lover, and as the gnawing hunger inside him grows impossible to ignore. He must write his last testament before it is too late. The story he tells will take us to the darkest part of the human soul. It is a tale of otherworldly creatures, ancient cults, and a terrifying journey from the stone circles of Scotland to the icy peaks of Tibet. So yeah, the synopsis on its own doesn't sell me, but I am curious enough to definitely seek out what people reviews are of this book and what they kind of say of it, and kind of the impression I get through other people talking about this book, whether or not it's something that I would enjoy. I definitely feel like it might be a little bit more of a slower atmospheric read as well, but we'll see. On October 19th, we have a psychological horror called In the End, You Will Kill Us Both by V. Ivan. It says, it's nearly Halloween, the sky won't stop weeping, and from the guts of Olympia's Eden Valley psychiatric unit emerges 19-year-old Leah Welch. Staggering blindly into the streets of an unfamiliar city, where her Her only company is a peculiar roommate, 2 eldest children, and a bizarre collection of ladybug figurines. Jobless, pill-reliant, and emotionally wounded, a life spent with one eye glaring at the past and the other squinting fearfully at the future is all Leo knows. Until she meets fellow ex-inpatient Elowen. A sudden and horrific event shatters Leo's image of her unusual new friend and sends them both on a dizzying road trip across American West. Then on October 22nd, we have It Will Only Hurt for a Moment by Delilah S. Dawson. So the reason I'm hesitant with this one is I have read from and not so much enjoyed Delilah S. Dawson's work before. And it sounds interesting, but I do think this will lean a little bit more into thriller, which also makes me a little bit hesitant. But it says Sarah Carpenter is starting over after leaving a narcissistic ex-boyfriend and an alcoholic abusive mother and heading for a secluded artist colony where she hopes to regain her love for pottery. Then she discovers a dead body and the other artists begin to act in troubling ways. So I do like the setup. I do find that to be very intriguing. So it's definitely one I'm going to be on the lookout for. I feel like Delilah S. Dawson has quite a few books coming out. I know she had Guillotine, which I actually have an arc of. I don't remember what that's about at all, but I honestly didn't even know about it until very, very last minute when I saw it on NetGalley. So I feel like she's really pumping out a lot of books very fast, which also makes me a little bit nervous, but maybe because of Bloom, she had already had these books written, but after the success of Bloom, she was able to fast track those. I hope she's not just writing that fast. Maybe she is. Maybe some people can do it. But for some reason, if people are pushing out that many books so fast, it makes me a little bit nervous. But yeah, all that is to say, I'm intrigued by this one, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Another one on October 22nd is Memorial by Richard Chismar. So this is another one that the setting itself intrigues me, and I like the setup of the story, but I don't know, at the same time, I don't know. Let me just read it to you guys. So it says in 1983, there are 3 students from a small college who embark on a week-long road trip to film a documentary on roadside memorials for their American Studies class. But as they venture deeper into the Appalachian backwoods, the atmosphere begins to darken. They notice more and more of the memorials feature a strange, unsettling symbol hinting at a sinister secret. Paranoia sets in when it appears they are being followed. It almost gives me what are those like older, kind of like early 2000s, maybe 2010s movies? Not like the Hills Have Eyes remake, but kind of like that, but not totally like that. But there is a film that was kind of like road trip kids. They get stuck in these woods and get chased by like cannibals. I don't know if cannibalism will be part of the story, but it kind of gives me those vibes where it's like road trip gone wrong, which I love that in movies. But for some reason, I've never actually read that as a book. And because they have the whole documentary situation going on too, maybe it's like found footage, which makes me even more intrigued. So now the more I'm talking about this, the more I'm selling myself on this book. I don't know. It just has a lot of elements that I've really enjoyed in movies, but I haven't read it as a book. So I guess maybe that's why I'm hesitant, but yeah, I don't know. Now I'm like selling myself a little bit more on this one. We'll see what happens with it. The last one for October is on October 29th, and that is called Feast While You Can by Michaela Clements and Anjukli Datta. I may have said their name incorrectly. I apologize. I tried to look up pronunciation, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I do really like the cover of this one. I like the color scheme that they have going on. So it says, born and raised in a small town, Angelina is determined to be content with her lot in life, walking her mongrel dog and attending her brother's heavy metal concerts. But one night she runs into Jugavi and an ancient evil is awakened. As the monstrous force grows bolder, it infiltrates Angelina's life. It talks with her dog's mouth. It guzzles on her memories. It controls Angelina from the inside. So I'm curious about this. I think that this might be maybe like a werewolf story. I don't really know, but I am very interested to see what people say about it. So I will definitely keep my eyes out on that one. Okay, so moving into November, I only have one book that I am actually anticipating. The rest of the books in November are just kind of, I'll see what people say, and there's very few in November. I only have 3 books total in November. So the one I'm actually intrigued by, and again, I shouldn't be because it's a short story collection, but this one is by an author that I have read from before and I really enjoyed her other work. It is called She's Always Hungry by Eliza Clark. This is described as a deeply immersive, darkly comic story collection of cinematic body horror and speculative fiction. Now I will say the UK cover, mwah, stunning. Love the UK cover. If I buy this, I will try to get my hands on the UK cover. The US cover is fine, but truly has nothing on the UK cover in my opinion. I love the UK cover with the pink vintage tub and that like green decaying hand, maybe, I don't know. But I really am so much more inspired by and riveted by the UK cover. So moving into the other two books for November that I will definitely be looking out for reviews for. The first one is Dandelion Roots by Alex Armorides. I don't have an exact day. It just said November. It didn't give me an exact date for this one, but it says Isabella lives in Lauren, a fictional island off the coast of Canada. While this city is steeped in Christmas festivities, she comes home one day to find that her mother has adopted 2 rabbits. As they integrate into Isabella and her mother's lives, Isabella becomes increasingly convinced that something is not quite right with them. There is not currently a cover, and it very little information, honestly, but I almost feel like because there's so little to judge about it, it makes me more interested to seek this book out. Honestly, I think that the cover reveal will be the deciding factor for me. If I love the cover, I will probably seek this book out. If I don't love the cover, I will probably wait and see if anybody else reviews it first, but I am like somewhat intrigued by it. I really like the ambiguity it's given us. It's giving us nothing, but it's giving me intrigue. Then on November 11th, we have The Threshing Floor by Steph Nelson. It says, when single mom Dallas learns her toddler Cash needs a heart transplant, she gets desperate. There are no guarantees he'll receive a donor heart in time, and even if he does, she can't afford the expensive procedure. Then Dallas meets Shane. He's part of a mysterious group whose leader claims to be able to heal any disease or injury. Dallas is skeptical at first, and the ritual she witnesses makes her uneasy. But when a broken arm gets healed before her eyes, she can't deny the truth, and she wants the same miracle for Cash. As her son's life hangs in the balance, Dallas must decide how far she's willing to go to save him, because the miracles of the secret group come at a steep price. So it is interesting, but if I'm being honest, I have a feeling that I know what's gonna happen. Like, I feel like I already know how the story's gonna play out. So unless I hear someone talk about it and they kind of say stuff like, it went in a direction I totally did not see coming, it was weird, it was bizarre, if those types of descriptions surround this book, I will be way more tempted to pick this up. But as it is, I feel like it's not going to do anything special. I will definitely have to see how people kind of react to this one. I will not go out of my way first to check it out, if I'm being honest. So there's that one. And finally, moving into December. So I only have 2 books total for December. I literally only found like a total of maybe 7 books releasing in December. Only 2 of them I'm actually intrigued by and anticipating. So the first one comes out December 3rd. This is Private Rites by Julia Armfield. It says, sisters Isla, Irene, and Agnes have not spoken in some time when their father dies. An architect as cruel as he was revered, his death offers an opportunity for the sisters to come together in a new way. In the grand glass house they grew up in, their father's most famous creation, the sisters sort through the secrets and memories he left behind until their fragile bond is shattered in a revelation in his will. It says that it's a speculative reimagining of King Lear. I don't know anything about King Lear or the story of King Lear. I don't even know what King Lear is, if I'm being honest. I don't know if it's a moment of history, if it's a play, a film. I have no idea, but there's that one. I really enjoy Julia Armfield's writing, so that's mostly why I'm anticipating this one. She tends to have very lyrical, flowery, purple prose that I really appreciate and like, so I'm excited to see what comes of this story. Then on December 10th, we have We Are the Beasts by Gigi Griffiths. I did also talk about this in one of my bingo videos, again, not realizing that it wasn't actually yet released, but it says, when a series of brutal deaths plague the countryside with whispers of a beast afoot, most most people believe it is a curse, God's punishment for their sins. Two best friends see it as an opportunity to fake their friends' deaths and hide away until it is safe to run. It is because of Horror Bingo that I actually found out about this book initially and about the author. I'm really intrigued to check out some of this author's work. She has a couple of other stories that I'm interested in, but this one is her up and coming release. So that is everything for today's video. Let me know which of those books intrigues you the most. If there's books you're anticipating that I did not mention, please share them in the comments down below. I would love to know and see if I missed some. I definitely didn't talk about all of the books releasing. I only included ones that either I was anticipating or was at least a little bit interested in. So there's plenty of other books releasing, but let me know which ones you're looking forward to. If you made it to this point in the video and have nothing else to say but want to let me know you were here, go ahead and leave me a strawberry emoji in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for spending some of your time with me while I sit down and talk about books. If you haven't yet, please give the video a like, subscribe for future content, turn on the bell notification, all the fun YouTube things that help you girl out, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!